Bramford, Connecticut, you're on the Washington Journal.
Yes, hi. I'm glad to get on the line. I would like to respond to the last woman's, well, basically my opinion is that I definitely would vote for President Bush because he does know what he's talking about. He did not rush into anything. He gave them ample time. And if you feel there's not weapons of destruction there, then America is blind. They're never going to reveal what they have. I mean, it's inevitable that they definitely hate us. They have other people working against us. This plan was in plan from Clinton and Clinton did nothing about it when they first tried to hit the towers. And it just proves, I believe, that President Bush is for America. And this other guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Kerry does not know what he's talking about. His story is so switched around every single time. He pleases every state in what they want to hear.
On the front page of this morning's Christian Science Monitor, the final take on Iraqi WMD, Peter Greer and Faye Bowers write that Mr. Hussein personally believes that WMDs saved his skin twice. First, when he used chemical weapons in the Iran-Iraq war in the 1980s, and second, when their threat helped to halt U.S. troops short of Baghdad in the Persian Gulf War. And what Hussein wants, Hussein tries to get, says the final report of the CIA-led Iraq Survey Group. His country may have been boxed in by international sanctions, and he may have been delusional about its resources, but he himself represented a sort of WMD in waiting, eager to reconstitute his weapons program in time. Next up is Culpeper, Virginia. Good morning.
Good morning. I have to apologize for my voice. I have a cold, but I would like to say that I do support President Bush, and the reason why I do is I've watched C-SPAN and watched different programs for a long, long time now, and it's very plain to see that President Bush did do the right thing. He went by all the information he was given, and he was given information that was passed on down from the last party, which is the Democratic Party. And I believe that if you have that information, you go after who you believe that is in the wrong. And I do believe it's only a smokescreen for the real truth. The real truth will come out, and I do believe the UN is connected with that, and that we will all see that the decision that George Bush made was from his heart and that he did make the right decision. And that makes me feel a lot safer. I'm sure that President Clinton probably would have made that same decision if he would be representing the United States as I would like my president to represent. Thank you, and have a...
Newark, New Jersey. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm a first-time caller to C-SPAN. I'm also a United States Air Force veteran who has worn that chemical suit that they're talking about. I would like to say that this war has never been about weapons of mass destruction. It has always been about oil and energy. The Bush cabinet, Condoleezza Rice, Cheney, and the president himself have all large connections to oil and energy concerns. The truth is, this is just a smokescreen. It has always been about oil. I'm a chef. Our prices for gas, electricity, and fuel have skyrocketed in the restaurants in the New Jersey area. This has never been about weapons of mass destruction. Bush
Newark,
are getting rich.
Newark, you said that you wore the chemical suit. Where did you wear it? Was it overseas? Were you in the Middle East?
I would know. I was in England when the Russians invaded Afghanistan in 1979. The chemical warfare suit has been in existence since the mid-70s. That suit in Iraq has to be at least 140 or 150 degrees inside that suit. It is a miserable thing to be in. But when you go on alert, you have to wear the suit overseas at that time. So I feel for our soldiers. I know they're dying, and I know that they believe in the cause. But what they're dying for is not what they're telling us, and that's what hurts. So when all the conservatives think that backing this president is the right thing, when you find out the truth, just look at your energy bill this year, and you will see the truth.
The off lead in this morning's Washington Post: delay draws third rebuke. Ethics panel cites two situations. This by Charles Babington. The House Ethics Committee last night admonished Majority Leader Tom DeLay for asking federal aviation officials to track an airplane involved in a Texas political spat and for conduct that suggested political donations might influence legislative action. The two-pronged rebuke marked the second time in 6 days and the third time overall that the ethics panel has admonished the House's second-ranking Republican. The back-to-back chastisements are highly unusual for any lawmaker, let alone one who aspires to be Speaker, and some watchdog groups called on him to resign his leadership post. Now, in the New York Times, they talk a little bit about the person who heads up the ethics panel and who has been heading up the investigation. Cheryl Gay Stolberg writes that Representative Joel Heffley has the most thankless job in Washington these days. It's even more thankless than usual. Mr. Heffley, a Colorado Republican whose name once turned up on a list of the most obscure members of Congress, is chairman of the House Ethics Committee, the Capitol's equivalent of a police internal affairs bureau. He has presided over several delicate inquiries, but none so delicate as the task he completed Wednesday night, presiding over the formal admonishment of Tom DeLay of Texas, the House Majority Leader, and one of the most powerful Republicans in Washington for the second time in a week. The two legislators have tangled occasionally in the past. Mr. Heffley, who declined to be interviewed for this article, is not close to Mr. DeLay and was quoted as saying so last month in the Denver Post. Our next call on the report of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq comes from Lakeland, Florida. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's your reaction to the report in yesterday's Senate hearing?
My reaction is everything that you read going down the list was basically about the same until you got to the last point. But I don't care anymore what they found. I believe that he was seeking to create weapons of mass destruction. I don't care what semi-truck they were in when they went over to Syria or wherever they went, or Saudi Arabia. I think we have more issues to look at, and I'm tired of, in every debate and everything I see on television, the Democrats, especially Edwards, who I feel is not qualified to take the position of President of the United States in the event that something would happen to Kerry and run this government. I trust George Bush. He's a man of faith. He's a man of honesty, and I do believe that when he says, I wake up every morning and I try to find a way to defend this country against terrorism. But that's only one issue. We have to look at all of the issues that this country is faced with, and I do not believe that this is a war on oil and based on energy.
Our next call comes from Herkimer, New York. Good morning.
Hello. Yes, I'm calling with regard to, I tell you, I'm a Republican, but I've got to come clean. I can't, my one little vote, I cannot give it to that man and that group of criminals down there. I can't do it. The Norwegian intelligence service said before the war that there were no weapons of mass destruction there. Now, you people keep saying over and over again that everybody was fooled by Saddam. Not everybody was fooled. Hans Blick said, let's keep looking. Now here, I want to tell you another thing very quickly. I had a nephew who was over there, served in Nasiriyah in the war. The day they went in, they took off their chemical suits. His officer said, there's no reason for them. You don't need to wear them. He told us that when he got back about 3 months after returning. To those people out there who talk about Saddam using weapons of mass destruction in the 1980s, I ask you to search your soul, because who gave them those weapons? Donald Rumsfeld himself was over there. If you people want to go into a state of constant denial, then all I can say to you Sig Heil.